And this is in fact something that I've done pretty heavily. I like to use the YouTube process, because not only could you do it that route, but you could also place your ad on specific YouTube channels. So, right, like if you wanted your ad to show up on Mr. Beast's channel because you know that's your audience, you could absolutely say, hey, show up on this partner channel or show up on his YouTube channel. So that's the really cool thing about Google, is once you learn it, you can really become dangerous with it.
Alrighty, I see some people starting to pop in real quick. Good morning, or even afternoon for those folks that are on the Eastern time zone or Central time zone. I'm Trenton Bodine, filling in for Tristan Ahumada today, and we have Ernest Enriquez here from Software Nerd, and we are thrilled to have you guys with us. We're going to be jumping into all things Google pay-per-click. So if you guys are wondering how to get things started, how to track once it is started, and then also how to make improvements and stay up with the latest trends, I would definitely stay focused for this call today. It's going to be a jam-packed session and full of valuable insights as well. And then throughout the process, we definitely encourage you guys to ask questions along the way. But before we get started, why don't you guys drop in the chat where you guys are from? And then in the meantime, I'm going to have Ernest just introduce himself, and we'll get started.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Trenton. So my name is Ernest Enriquez. Super excited to be here today. Some of you might actually have heard of me or know of me from maybe some past groups or anything like that. But my name is Ernest Enriquez. I'm a real estate broker and kind of a software nerd when it comes to everything marketing. And really kind of what my skill set goes into is the digital landscape of things and running Google pay-per-click ads, as well as Facebook ads. But today we're going to kind of dive really deep into those Google ads and kind of show you the bread and butter that's been a winning strategy for me in my business and helping me really kind of go out there and land even more business and ramp up kind of during these times or during these shifts, right? It's always important that as the market shifts, that you as an agent are able to adapt. And whether you have your own marketing guy out there or you're looking to do this on your own, we're going to kind of give you the fundamentals to be able to go out there and successfully set up a Google ad strategy and deploy it if you want to so do that in your business today. So I have a background. I've been in the business since 2016, somewhere around there, and practically built my entire book of business off of these digital ad strategies. So I had to become good with it when I dove into the business because I didn't know anybody and really just needed to get good with it and ultimately did. So super excited to be able to share my knowledge with everybody out there today.
Excellent. Well, we're excited to have you here as well. Excuse me. So let's get started here. You mentioned that you have something to kind of share with us. Let's just jump right in and I'll let you kind of walk through and we'll go from there. And guys,
yes.
If you have any questions throughout the process, definitely drop them in the chat and we'll get them answered here with Ernest.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a presentation here. So if you can just unlock that sharing button for me, if you have the ability or capacity to. Let's see.
Jacob, excellent. Now you should be good to go.
Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and share here. Where are we at? I think it's this one here. I got multiple screens, so bear with me. So we're going to talk a little bit about Google Ads. One of the first things to really kind of understand about Google Ads, whether you're a Google Ads expert or you're just kind of getting into the Google Ads business and space, it's really just about understanding how Google actually prioritizes ad placements, right? It's all about really understanding what you're going to kind of set out to accomplish and how Google Ads is going to help you get there. With that mindset, you're going to be successful, right? If you know what you want to do with Google Ads and you know what they offer and the types of services that they offer, you'll be able to go on the Google Ads platform and really kind of build some, as I would call them, our baller campaigns that are going to land you not only clicks, but they're going to land you leads, right? That's the ultimate name of the game in the real estate industry. When we talk about digital marketing, is getting leads and getting information from people so that you have somebody to talk to and build that rapport. And Google Ads is a really cool platform to be able to do that on, whether you're looking to do a search ad on Google, meaning you want to go ahead and build an ad that's going to be placed and appear at the top of keyword searches. at the very top of that Google page, let's say you, for example, are in an area in Florida, whether that be Tampa Bay, and you want to make sure your ads are appearing, you can go ahead and build a Google search ad that would basically be you bidding for your ad placement to be at the top of that Google indexed page whenever somebody types in Tampa Bay homes for sale. Now, it sounds simple, but there are some kind of key strategies that you have to understand. Google is going to basically rank your ad, right? They're going to look at several pieces of your ad. So if you've ever seen a Google ad or you've ever done a Google search where as you search, it's going to basically have that homes for sale or have somebody's ad with a headline, and then it has a short description. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You're going to basically be looking at a Google search ad, right? So here's our Google search engine. If I were to go in and type in San Antonio homes for sale, this is basically what they're going to type in. Now, Google's looking at a couple key ingredients to the success and to basically give you a quality score on your ad. So first off, they're looking at things like the title, right? They're also looking at the description. They're looking at any site links that you might have, as well as where that URL is going to take that person to. So it's important to always stay relevant, right? If you're maybe a first-time home buyer or you're honing in on really kind of like your niche, you want to make sure that that your ad is basically going to be targeted to delivering that message and driving them to a specific link that's going to get them there. I do these with KV Core pages. We build landing pages on our KV Core website that take people to a actual search, right? So for example, it would take them to a San Antonio search that's going to basically look exactly like this, where it has a map, it has homes off to the side, and they could actually begin their home search on my website. Now, to appear here though, you need to, again, make sure you're paying attention to that quality score. So making sure your headline is relevant to the page that you're redirecting them to, making sure that your description is in correlation to what your headline reads, right? So for example, new homes in San Antonio, new houses for sale. This actually should say San Antonio. They're probably paying a lot of money to have their ads appear here, but it should all kind of be relevant, and it should have those keywords inside of your description as well as in your headline. For example, realty.com does a really good job here where they're implementing and having that keyword that I've searched for in their actual title as well as in their description. So it's important to pay attention to those, because when you run Google search ads are going to basically give you a quality score based off, again, the headline, the description, any site links that you might have, as well as how relevant is the page that you're redirecting the traffic to your keywords. So for example, if I were doing a homes for sale San Antonio ad, I wouldn't want to throw a bunch of random keywords into there or send them to a different page that has homes that are titled or have cities in different locations, right? Because Google's going to automatically kind of dock me on that. And they're giving you a score of 1 to 10. So 1 being terrible, 10 being great, and so forth. And it's really kind of important to also understand that Google, even though you want to go throw $20 at it, if your ad is only a 2 of 10, you're not going to index very well, and you're just going to end up blowing your budget because your ad quality is just terrible, right? So with Google search ads, you're actually going to be placing keyword bids for your ads to appear on those top search engines. My biggest recommendation with search ads is, as you start going through that process and setting up your ads campaign, to really kind of minimize the number of keywords, right? So again, using my area as a reference here, San Antonio, we have Windcrest, Converse, Shirts, Bernie, New Braunfels. We have a bunch of cities in our area that I would not want to just go and throw like homes for sale Bernie, homes for sale Converse, home for sale Shirts, and keep that all in one ad group, because it would diminish the ad quality that I would have with that particular ad. So for reference, I would keep homes for sale San Antonio, Texas, houses for sale San Antonio, Texas, San Antonio homes for sale, and just word it differently. And then with keywords, Google actually has what they call our, and we're going to show you here, Google exact keyword phrase matches. And basically what that means is that that user has to, or that engager has to go to that search engine and actually type in the exact phrase that you're bidding on, right? So if you've ever run a keyword or a pay-per-click ad before and you just got a bunch of random clicks, it's most likely because you've left that keyword phrase as broad, right? I accidentally did this when I first started running my Google ads. I left it as broad and I left my entire location targeting open to the United States. And I was actually getting leads from San Antonio, Florida, because they were coming in from San Antonio, Florida instead of San Antonio, Texas. So needless to say, we capitalized on the referral deal, got it out to a Florida agent and made some money off of it. But don't make that same mistake, right? You want to make sure you don't leave it as broad, because all it has to match is a set of keywords within that phrase, or even one keyword within that phrase. So when you set up your keywords and you're going through your keywords, you'll be able to do these brackets here that are basically going to be an exact match. So I'm telling Google that I only want to bid on San Antonio homes for sale, Texas, and it has to exactly match that phrase in order for my Google ads to actually appear, right? There's a lot of marketers out there that do this well. They know what they're doing and they're really good at this. And they'll probably validate that statement with the exact phrase, unless they're just trying to drive as much traffic to your website as humanly possible. But I would keep this as an exact phrase match on any Google ad that I run. And then also keep it, and I thought y'all were seeing here, but keep it relevant to the to kind of the landing page that they're going to basically be landing on. Google also does have what is called is keyword insertion. So that means that, for example, as leads are typing in, let's say, San Antonio, Texas homes for sale, this is an exact phrase match. If my ad were to appear here on my Google ads, I actually have the ability to go ahead and insert this phrase into the headline of that ad. This is actually going to change the game up a little bit with them, because now that they see their phrase matched in their title, it's going to be more relevant to them and it looks more kind of customized and more of a dynamic experience, right? So it's actually going to show my keywords in there. If my ad just happens to match up to a keyword phrase or keyword search that isn't exactly what I was wanting for, it's just going to have a default placement of San Antonio homes for sale that I've set up in the actual ad itself, right? So just some really kind of cool little tips that you could take and deploy in your Google, your search ads, right? So
I'm curious, for those that are in attendance, drop it in the chat. Are you guys currently using Google pay-per-click right now? Or is that something that you guys are interested in doing yourselves? Or even outsourcing as well? We got a yes. Hoping to hear from a couple others. No, not yet. Okay. All right, so great. This is gonna be great for those that are looking to, learn some of these tidbits that are going to make your ads very effective. So looks like we have a good half and half here as far as that are using it and aren't using it. So just wanted to cover that real quick.
Yeah, and it's important to note as well, right? Like, this is something that you should technically outsource if you have the means to do it. But for a lot of self-starters, a lot of agents out there who are hands-on and like to technically be in control, this is a skill or technique or an ad platform that you would technically want to learn, right? Like, you would want to know how to use this, because not only is this relevant to search ads, but let's say you just got a fresh new listing and you have a really cool and engaging video that you've already blasted to your social feeds, you've posted it into LinkedIn or whatever social channel you've plugged it into. But did you know that with Google Ads, you could actually run what we call our display ads, right? And display ads are basically an ad that not only appears on a partner website, but you can also run YouTube ads with that listing video that you have, targeting a specific area and a custom audience of people who are actually interested in real estate. So it's really cool, because once that video is uploaded to your YouTube channel, you can then go into Google and you can run an actual video ad. So let me see here if I have an ads manager account that I can get into that's not in use, just for demonstration purposes, and
So what
kind of
you're saying
walking you
is,
through that.
if we have a new listing and we create a video around it, put it on YouTube, then we can take that YouTube video and then create an ad through Google pay-per-click or display ads here and be able
Mhm.
to display that ad directly to all of the potential buyers within that areas, like within the area of the home.
Exactly. Yeah, you could drop a pinpoint or like a zip code and do that radius targeting with it. You could also just do like a an interest based, kind of like what you would do with Facebook, where you're doing that interest based marketing to people who have a actual interest in it. There we go. Now you can hear
So
me, right?
yeah, Tiffany has a quick question of, where do we start with Google pay-per-click?
Yeah, it really, again, depends on your goal, right? Like if, let's just say your goal was to drive exposure to that listing that you just got, you could definitely start out with Google video ads or display ads. If your goal was to, hey, my goal for this year is to generate more closings, quicker transactions, you can also learn to search ads, and that's where you would start. So that's why I say it's important to understand what your goal is and your expectation when you go to set up these ads. Because if your goal was just to drive exposure, they have different considerations similar to like what Facebook would have, where you could drive traffic, you could drive leads, you could drive engagement, whether you're wanting to. But I would definitely start there with just kind of learning the platform. Google also does offer just some fundamental courses that you could take. They're free, but it'll walk you through and get you acclimated to the Google Ads platform so that you know what you're looking at when you kind of dive into it to go full steam ahead. So this is still just loading here. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me close some of my other stuff on the back end here. But yes, to your question, you got that new listing. You can go and run a YouTube video ad with that listing. And this is, in fact, something that I've done pretty heavily. I like to use the YouTube process, because not only could you do it that route, but you could also place your ad on specific YouTube channels. So, right, like if you wanted your ad to show up on Mr. Beast's channel because that's your audience, you could absolutely say, hey, show up on this partner channel or show up on his YouTube channel. So that's the really cool thing about Google, is once you learn it, you can really become dangerous with it, needless to say. One way that I've used it is with expired listings, right? You could use a source like My Leads Plus or Listings to Lead, something that's going to actually give you the data for those listings. Google does have a custom audience similar to Facebook, and you could actually upload that custom audience and then retarget them with YouTube ads, right? So whether they're
Yeah.
sitting on their couch watching YouTube, or they're on their iPad or their Android or their desktop, you'll be able to go and actually target them with those ads. So let me show you. This is a dummy account that I have created here just to kind of walk you all through this. Where are we at? Shoot. I think it's this one here. So this is kind of a dummy ad, but when you go to create your campaign, you're basically going to see this new campaign builder. And as you go through the campaign builder, hopefully this doesn't have a bunch of latency. You'll see some different objectives. Like I was mentioning, if your goal was to generate leads, of course, you would use that leads objective. If you were just wanting people to go to your website, you would use the website traffic. The one that I was mentioning a moment ago was the leads here. And you'll see that once you click that, you get some campaign types, right? Like I can run a search ad, which is what I was talking about when we opened up, where you go and you actually place a bid for keyword searches. You could also do a display ad where it has photos, it has videos, you appear on Google partner websites. So even regardless if they're gone to Google and typed in, let's say, San Antonio homes for sale, if they've even done that remotely in the past, I'm appearing on their actual browser on some of these partner sites that have display ad placement. The last and third example I was just giving was video, right? Where I was talking about, hey, you can go and take that listing and you can use YouTube video to go ahead and start driving traffic to your listing via YouTube ads, right? So you'll click this, you'll go through that ad setup process. It's usually just requiring you to go get the YouTube URL. You can paste it in there. It creates your ad for you, and it looks super, super slick. And this one's probably not going to let me show it here, but let me just see real fast if I have another Google Ads account here that I can pop into that has that conversion. But while I do that, any questions on that coming in through the chat?
We do have a question of what is the average cost per click and cost per lead in the industry? Canada, if possible. And we know that it's different for each region, but we just want to try to get an idea here.
Yeah, so it's different. It's going to vary each region, but what I've seen across and what most kind of articles are saying is about $20, $20-ish, $25, somewhere around there is your app.
Oh, we may have lost him again. Shubham, we're also noticing that depending on if you explore between long form keywords versus short form keywords or the broad targeting matches that he was mentioning, sometimes you can get it down to about, $12 to $15, but of course that's gonna depend on what region you are in for that. But I would expect at least 12 to 15 to 20 to 25 for that.
Yeah,
I don't have the actual Canada data, but I have tested that in a few different markets, and that's typically what we got there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of experiencing across the board is about anywhere from $15 to $20. It just depends on how saturated the market is, right? I mean, the more advertisers you have doing Google pay-per-click, the higher that cost per lead is going to go up because of your competition. So, if you can get it below that, awesome. If not, don't be concerned if you go a day without getting a lead on there because your budget's set at $20. But yeah, great point.
Cost per click. What are you seeing for cost per click? Or what should be a benchmark for that?
Yeah, so my benchmark on cost per click is about $1.25, somewhere around there, right? For every 20 clicks, I want to land one lead roughly. Is kind of my outline and expectation there.
That's a good way to look at that. We have another one from Charlie. I'm with EXP. We get a subdomain website from them. Do these subdomains rank well for SEO on Google?
I haven't played around with SEO too much just because it's super hard to index it. Plus, that's a long-term play. That's not something that's going to be like, oh, you got a new website, you put, you added a site link and indexed it, put all your meta tags for a specific location, and it's going to start appearing. It usually takes a couple years for you to actually start indexing it and getting it ranked really high. So SEO, yes, the KV Core websites are great for it because you have the ability to go into like your KV Core dashboard, for example, and go into your web and IDX settings, and you can add metadata tags to those indexed like area pages that they have. And then your ads will start appearing, or not ads, but your SEO will start ranking. But it takes time. It's not something that's going to magically overnight at the flip of a switch turn on.
Yeah, you'd also want to focus kind of on building out possibly some blogs on that site and then having them link between each other and having the different keywords show up within those articles that are pretty natural and not just kind of thrown in there as well.
Yeah,
We have
great.
another from Melissa. Is this going to be added to the LabCoats YouTube channel? Yes, Melissa, it will. I would say give it within 24 to 48 hours and it should be up there. Justin asks, if you're running this with the function of finding leads, where do the leads go and how they are captured? And that should reference back to what you were showing us with the lead section.
Yes. So let me share here. Let's see here. So with the leads, again, you can set up that search ad, right? The goal there was to actually get those leads. These leads are not like a lead that you would expect, like they're filling out a contact form. Google's going to rely heavily on your real estate website or CRM that you're using to actually leverage those lead capture tools. So basically what you're doing here is still driving the traffic, but Google's algorithm is picking up who is more likely to sign up on your website versus let me just drive a bunch of clicks to their site. But I wanted to show you the YouTube example because this is very beneficial for a lot of agents out there right now who might have a listing who've never even known they could do this. Basically, what you would do is select that YouTube video ad, You'll then be able to go through all your targeting here, your dynamics, set your ad budget, $5 a day, let's say. They'll give you a budget here. They're always trying to take more money. I don't know what you put in here, but I always like to keep it below. And then as I start producing results, start ramping it up, of course, as we start generating some results. But basically, all you're going to do is now just go get your YouTube video URL. So for example, you'll go to your YouTube channel. Let me see if I have one here. You'll go to your YouTube channel. Come on, my internet's being super slow here. Sorry about that. But you'll go to your YouTube channel and you can grab, for example, like a short if you wanted to. And I can take this short now. And this is a new construction home, right? So we could actually go ahead and put that into that search and you'll see how it actually appears here now. So anytime somebody's on YouTube, I'll then redirect them to my KV Core single page squeeze page where they'll land, they can view properties, and then I'm going to go ahead and capture their information and their details. But you get to click your call to action. You could say something like, see more photos, right? Or get details, whatever you want to put in here. Usually learn more is the most common one, but you can put get detail, right? And it'll change that button there. But this is cool again, because as they, land on it, the ad will start playing your video, right? So, and if we want to preview this, what it looks like on YouTube, someone's watching YouTube and then all of a sudden my ad appears, they'll see this, has my call to action right there, and I can redirect them. But this is something you should be doing to all of your listings. If this is not in your listing presentation, you can guarantee somebody like me with my mindset, going to come in and wow the seller with that, because you can, show them how you're going to drive maximum exposure. But yeah, you could run some pay-per-click ads with it to do that. So Google Ads isn't just search ads, right? You don't have to use it to go and try and appear at the top of every search on Google's platform. You could use this to run video ads across YouTube and any other place that Google might actually place that, which is usually like Gmail or any partner websites.
So unlike Facebook and how the leads live within Facebook when they're captured, with Google Pay-Per-Click, that's the importance of making sure that you have a good squeeze page or a good landing page to be able to capture that information and capture those questions that are wanting to be asked.
Right.
Sometimes you can have multiple questions being asked, sequentially. You could have multiple questions just be asked in kind of an order and like a list, and they fill out. But as long as you have a good landing page to capture that information, that's where the leads are going to live, and they're going to come back to your CRM or however you're capturing your leads from your website.
Right. And that's why I've been heavy on KV Core. I've tested out a lot of other platforms out there. KV Core, I don't know why, but just tends to seem to convert a little better. And I think it's the simplicity of how they actually create their login. So for example, like on the KV Core website, this is only going to ask for, let's say, an email address and a phone number. And it also gives them the ability to log in with Google or Facebook. Whereas, something that's a little bit more complex, and I say complex because it's lengthier. I do also run Lofty as well, which I do love their layouts and how they look. But the conversion ratio is like 1 to 5. So for every one lead I generate with Lofty on Google Pay-Per-Click, I generate 5 with KV Core. And I think the reasoning behind that is just how the forms are caught or captured, right? Like Lofty is great because they're going to ask more questions. So in theory, you'll get a warmer lead. But if you're going for generating leads, this is going to run your cost per lead up a little bit more than, let's say, like a KV Core landing page or squeeze page, right? Because you'll see it ask for full name, email address, phone number, to be used as passwords. So just multiple items that have to actually be filled out.
Excellent. We have one more question here. With the new filters and fair housing laws and regulations, is there any way to target people living in apartments?
Ooh, that's a great question. I have not figured out a way to do just apartments. I would assume you still could technically drop like a pin on your Google ads, but I haven't done anything with apartments personally. Do you have any ideas around that, Trent?
I don't specifically because I haven't been in the back end of Google Pay-per-click lately since that update had happened. Is there not a way that you can search for renters or something of that nature possibly, or is that part of the new update?
Yeah, so that's probably part of the new update. Again, I haven't focused too much on the rental side of things. Um, so it could be part of that new update. But I know like on Facebook, you have to do a 15-mile radius around the zip code
Mhm.
and things of that nature. So if Google's the same way, then yeah, you'd have to get creative with how you actually target those renters. My best advice there would be to go out and make friends with the community manager and see if they'll give you a list of people living in there, and then farm them through some other method, right? Digital ads are going to be hard because of that restriction of compliance, but there's nobody keeping you from going and buying that list from the from the property manager to be able to farm them. So
Excellent. Well, as we wrap this up, we got one last question here. And then I'm going to ask you, Ernest, to drop in your information into the chat. In the meantime, for anybody that has additional questions and wants to reach out, maybe an email or your socials, not your social, but like your social platform. Uh,
yeah.
but
No, my SSN. Yeah, you want to go and
last question though, can you share some resource for retargeting and how to collect data for retargeting?
Yeah, so data for retargeting. I use a tool called Title Toolbox. I don't know if you're familiar with it or if you've ever heard of it. Anybody out there who's heard of it, you might know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go and meet up with your local title and escrow officer. Sometimes it's a tool that they'll provide. But Title Toolbox allows you to buy homeowner data through it. It's like 12 cents for a phone number and email. And then you can, again, like I was mentioning with the expired data, you could upload them into custom audiences and retarget them through those methods. I would say one thing that I did miss, and it's probably an important tip for everybody out there. If you haven't set up your Facebook pixel or your Google tag, you need to do that before you run any kind of paid advertising, because if you don't, your advertising costs are just going to go through the window because you're only advertising to new traffic versus traffic that's already been on your website.
And then I would add in there that you can always, create a custom audience based on the leads in your database that you already have, or any contacts, friends, family that you already have, and then be able to upload that into Google Pay-per-click so that way you can retarget specifically to those people as well.
Right. Yeah, and that's the key part, right? Is having an even flow, because I would not recommend just running either or, like don't run just Google or Facebook. Set an ad budget that's gonna be able to be spread across both platforms, because it does benefit you when you have people clicking on your Google ads and running Facebook ads, right? Like your Facebook pixel still being set, that little piece of unobtrusive JavaScript still being set on their browser so that you could retarget them through Facebook and Google. It's what I like to call the Amazon effect, right? You've been in Amazon, you put that thing in your shopping cart, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, they're stalking me. Like it's all over my feed. You probably even had this happen to you when you've just been talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden it's all in your feed. Same effect can apply with your real estate ads, right? Somebody's clicked on your website, maybe they didn't sign up, but your Facebook pixel is now set and you're running a bunch of video ads on Facebook or Instagram, and now your ads are being seen or targeting those same people. So,
Excellent. Well, appreciate your time here, Ernest. We dropped into the chat his Instagram handle. If you guys want to reach out to him there for any additional questions that you have, he'll be able to answer those there as well. But thank you for your time, Ernest, and thank you everybody for joining us.
yeah, thanks everyone.
All right, well, have a great day and have a great weekend as well. All right, we'll see you guys.
Thanks.